welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today we bring you some news. Camilla in tears after King Charles confirms Catherine to lead key Kent patronages. An insider source said that Queen Camilla has been very upset and has lost her composure after King Charles's granting of authority to Catherine during the Duchess of Kent's funeral in accordance with her last wish. The source said that Queen Camilla saw King Charles's actions as a betrayal of her contributions to the kingdom by elevating Catherine to a superior position. On September 16, 2025, in London, members of the British royal family and a select group of mourners gathered at Westminster Cathedral to attend the burial and acknowledge the significant transfer of responsibility after the death of Catherine, Duchess of Kent. The Duchess, who passed away on September 4, 2025, at the age of 92, was a person whose existence intertwined lasting individual commitment with persistent public duty. She was well esteemed for exemplifying a rare blend of subtle dignity and autonomous principles. The burial ceremony at Westminster Cathedral, regarded by several observers as the first Catholic requiem mass for a senior monarch in modern history, was imbued with both personal grief and institutional importance. During a formal ceremony and private family discussions, King Charles III declared that in alignment with the late Duchess's wishes and with the approval of the chief mourner, the Princess of Wales, Catherine had been assigned a range of practical and ceremonial responsibilities related to the Kent household and its enduring patronages. The transfer, executed via a private agreement after the public ceremony, served as both a commemorative gesture and a symbol of continuity within a changing contemporary monarchy. The event amalgamated aspects that were both gravely private and meticulously public. Within Westminster Cathedral, a site of veneration distinguished by its Byzantine-inspired architecture and its designation as the foremost Catholic church in London, ritual predominated. The cathedral's expansive interior, characterized by its lofty arches and vaults, the shimmering tesserae of mosaics that reflect light, and the silence that envelops the centuries-old liturgical practices, created an environment where tradition and personal faith could coexist together. The Gregorian chant, Latin liturgy, and other ceremonial components of a requiem mass structured the public manifestation of sorrow. The choir's plainchant modal, unembellished and harmonized with the nave's acoustics, occupied the intervals between spoken prayers, while the organ's deep, prolonged tones accentuated periods of contemplation. The incense, the deliberate motion of the priestly robes, and the controlled tempo of the procession all created an atmosphere of grave solemnity. A private family gathering solidified a conscious institutional decision, transcending the ritual and visual choreography of a royal procession. The king's declaration that Catherine will take on specific tasks related to Kent formalized a transfer previously indicated during the Duchess's last months. The Duke of Kent, Prince Edward, aged 89, attended as the major mourner and expressed his implicit and overt approval of the arrangement. For the Duke and Duchess marital partners for almost 60 years, this succession of responsibilities signified not only a transfer of hereditary title, but the conveyance of an ethos, the understated active service that the Kent family had epitomized. Family members and household advisors later characterized the choice as a manifestation of the Duchess's pragmatic concern that the connections and causes she had cultivated would be entrusted to someone who appreciated ongoing attention and personal involvement. The funeral aimed to commemorate not just a singular life, but also a network of obligations and affiliations. The Duchess's conversion to the Roman Catholic Church in 1994, a profoundly personal spiritual choice, gained public significance due to the historical connections between the Crown and the Church of England. Westminster Cathedral was therefore an especially suitable venue for her requiem. The cathedral's architecture, characterized by lofty arches, elaborate mosaics illustrating saints and biblical narratives, and a design intended to facilitate solemn liturgical expression, offered an environment where both tradition and personal religion could be recognized. The decision to conduct a Catholic requiem for a senior royal prompted contemplation on the intricate relationship between personal faith and public position in modern Britain. Although the monarch's historical function has been intimately associated with the Church of England, members of the extended royal family have consistently navigated individual religious preferences within the parameters of constitutional monarchy. The prior assertion from Buckingham Palace that the Duchess's conversion would not influence her royal position was reaffirmed by the attendance of the sovereign and senior royals in a liturgy that acknowledged her religion on its own merits. Inside the church, ceremonial etiquette was meticulously followed, considering both historical connections and personal relationships. The Duchess's coffin, covered by a plain pall, was carried into the nave by pallbearers from regiments associated with the Duke of Kent, therefore linking the personal family occasion to the military and institutional affiliations that had defined much of the couple's public existence. The choice of military members with enduring connections to the Kent family acknowledged decades of service and patronage. Their composed handling of the casket formed a scene that merged personal sorrow with national obligation. A meticulously chosen assembly of over 500 mourners included extended family members and representatives from a variety of charities, educational institutions, and cultural organizations that the Duchess had sponsored over the years. The representatives, trustees, principals, directors, and volunteers were present not merely as observers, but as tangible manifestations of the Duchess's extensive philanthropic influence. She was recalled not only as a royal figurehead, but also as an active volunteer, a champion for children, and a consistent contributor to music education. King Charles III occupied a pivotal role in the procession, serving as a symbol of family and institutional continuity. He was joined by the Prince and Princess of Wales, Prince William and Catherine, who exhibited visible emotional responses to the events. Photographs produced by Palace Communications depicted the king's composed demeanor and the Wales's grave presence, underscoring a feeling of continuity within the family. The Duke of Kent served as the primary mourner, joined by his children and his brother Prince Michael of Kent. The interaction between long-serving elders and more visible younger royals transformed the service into both a commemoration and a representation of institutional evolution. The placement of family members in procession and the choreography of sitting are traditional methods by which the monarchy conveys unity and the systematic transfer of responsibilities. In this instance, these rituals were executed with both respect and strategic precision. The liturgy included components that mirrored the Duchess's life and obligations. The Gregorian chant and Latin prayers are forms entrenched in centuries of Catholic liturgy. Their incorporation emphasized the significance of the event while connecting the ceremony to spiritual traditions that largely shaped the Duchess's subsequent life. The musical selections were not only aesthetic, they served to contextualize an individual's existence within a wider spiritual heritage. An official statement from the Vatican was delivered during the funeral, recognizing her philanthropic efforts and profound faith. The papal or curial telegram underscored appreciation for her lifetime commitment to the Church's initiatives in education and humanitarian assistance. A eulogy presented by a close UNICEF associate underscored the Duchess's enduring commitment to international humanitarian efforts, including trips and visits that illustrated the tangible effects of personal campaigning. These efforts highlighted two key aspects of the Duchess's public persona: a dedication to religion, and a persistent commitment to philanthropic endeavors, especially those aimed at children and relieving suffering in marginalized groups. Memorial rituals often include poignant moments that reflect individual character as well as civic legacy. A particularly remarkable aspect of the ceremony occurred when the Princess of Wales delivered a reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. The biblical verse esteemed in Christian liturgical practice for its reflection on the permanence of love was selected with obvious deliberation. The reading's themes of patience, compassion, and enduring love echoed the Duchess's personal narrative of her lengthy marriage and the understated characteristics that characterized her public endeavors. The princess's reading, spoken in deliberate and consistent tones, linked the ritual to a personal narrative of loyalty, empathy, and dedication. Observers remarked on the little but significant actions throughout the service. The princess extending her hand to a younger relative, a fleeting exchange of smiles indicative of intimate recollections, and the concentrated concentration with which she absorbed the tributes. The princess was not only a ceremonial figure. Throughout the service, she was seen providing tiny, real comforts to younger family members, embodying a position that fused pastoral care with institutional duty. Queen Camilla's absence, ostensibly ascribed to sinusitis, requiring convalescence before a planned state visit, significantly impacted the visual dynamics of the event. In the absence of the Queen Consort's usual major role, the Princess of Wales assumed an extended position, leading prayers, playing a significant part in the procession, and generally serving as a stabilizing presence. The convergence of events, however unanticipated in many aspects, underscored the princess's ability to undertake increased representative responsibilities during times of family and national importance. With the Queen Consort absent, the princess's prominent leadership at the service held significant symbolic weight, underscoring a story of generational preparedness and the flexibility of royal duties in response to unexpected situations. A comprehensive understanding of the funeral's significance necessitates an examination of Catherine, Duchess of Kent's life within its context. Catherine Lucy Mary Worsley was born on February 22, 1933, at Hovingham Hall in Yorkshire, and was raised in an environment influenced by the customs and duties of the English nobility. She is the daughter of Sir William Worsley, 4th Baronet, and was educated at Queen Margaret's School in York and Runton Hill School in Norfolk. From a young age, music was integral to her personal growth. She became a proficient pianist, violinist, and organist abilities that influenced both her personal life and her public appearances. Her passion for music manifested in tangible acts of service. She endorsed musical institutions and fostered emerging talent via education and patronage, establishing connections with music schools, conservatories, and contests across many decades. Her nuptials to Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, on June 8, 1961, in York Minster, garnered significant national attention. The marriage placed her among the monarchy's inner circles, although she remained resolute in her desire to engage in meaningful work beyond ceremonial duties. In a significant departure from typical expectations for her role, the Duchess dedicated almost a decade to serving as a music instructor at Wansbeck Primary School in Hull. There she was referred to by students and co-workers as Mrs. Kent, a designation that indicated a preference for approachable interaction over aloof patronage. In classrooms and school corridors, she instructed children in playing instruments, appreciating music, and cultivating confidence through performance. Former students, when interviewed years later, reminisced about her warmth, patience, and the astonishment of witnessing a member of the royal family participating in the routine work of teaching. The Duchess's decision to work at a state elementary school, instead of limiting herself to ceremonial responsibilities, was both a personal inclination and a public declaration on the need of direct involvement. Her contributions to educational institutions were enhanced by her prominent support of organizations like the Royal Northern College of Music, pivotal in training professional musicians in Northern England, and her ongoing participation in the BBC Young Musician of the Year competition, where she awarded trophies and cultivated a reputation linked to the development of emerging talent. Her attendance in contests, performances, and exams conferred respectability and garnered attention for institutions reliant on public support and media exposure. Throughout the years, she gained recognition as both a proficient musician and a pragmatic proponent of music education. She comprehended through personal experience and professional involvement how musical training can provide opportunities and foster discipline, creativity, and a feeling of community. The Duchess's public persona was characterized by charitable engagement. She participated with the Samaritans, an organization committed to offering emotional support to those in distress, and acted as an ambassador for UNICEF, a position that included lobbying and travel to advance the welfare of at-risk children. Her engagements included visits to hospitals, schools, and community centers where she interacted with children and families, highlighting local initiatives aimed at enhancing welfare. Her approach to philanthropy was very proactive. She interacted directly with programs and recipients rather than just participating in ribbon-cutting ceremonies. This real involvement established a concept of royal service that valued effectiveness and personal connection more than mere ceremonial actions. Colleagues have highlighted her blend of subtle presence, genuine empathy, and meticulous focus on the practical aspects of philanthropic initiatives. The Duchess's engagement often resulted in enhanced awareness for partner organizations and, importantly, the establishment of enduring connections with donors, trustees, and institutional networks. The Duchess's public transparency about her health challenges became a notable element of her legacy. She candidly discussed her difficulties with depression and chronic fatigue disease, myalgic encephalomyelitis, revealing weaknesses that in previous ages may have been concealed or omitted from royal dialogue. Her readiness to address these matters facilitated a wider process of destigmatization in public life, especially considering the historical reluctance surrounding mental health talks among prominent leaders. By divulging elements of her experience, she facilitated a change in the discourse towards empathy and pragmatic assistance, urging both charitable organizations and governmental institutions to acknowledge the difficulties encountered by those with chronic diseases. Her frankness coincided with a growing public readiness to regard mental health as both a policy issue and a personal concern, and it echoed current discussions regarding well-being and the obligations of public institutions to address mental and chronic health conditions with empathy and dedication. The Duchess's private life included both grief and fortitude. In 1977, she and the Duke of Kent suffered the death of their stillborn baby John, an incident that remained a personal sorrow while subsequently influencing the Duchess's engagement with child bereavement assistance and related organizations. Through these experiences, onlookers remarked that she developed a distinct empathy for parents and families confronting similar catastrophes. Her support of mourning organizations was therefore rooted in personal understanding rather than just abstract pity. Her readiness to assist organizations addressing loss and sorrow indicated a compassionate attitude to philanthropy, one that recognized pain and sought to mitigate it via practical services, counseling, and enhancements to institutional responses to mourning. Her admission into the Roman Catholic Church in 1994 was a privately made choice that was subsequently disclosed publicly. The conversion garnered attention because to its junction with enduring constitutional and theological traditions associated with the British monarchy. For centuries, the king has been officially associated with the Church of England, and the regulations governing royal religion have undergone meticulous constitutional adjustment. The statement from Buckingham Palace indicated that the Duchess's conversion would not alter her standing within the royal family, framing the choice mostly as a question of personal conviction. The Duchess's conversion became indicative in public hindsight of an age in which the personal religious choices of senior royals could be integrated within a contemporary monarchy, striving to harmonize tradition with individual belief. In the next years, her involvement in Catholic liturgy and her overt statements of religion enriched the spiritual variety among the extended royal family and incited contemplation over the role of private belief in public positions. Despite health issues restricting the Duchess's public appearances, she always attended important official events, with evident poise upholding her enduring dedication to public service. Her association with the Princess of Wales evolved via mutual patronages and participation in cultural and humanitarian events, particularly at Wimbledon, where the Duchess had throughout the years awarded prizes. During both public occasions and more subdued private exchanges, colleagues and observers indicated that the Duchess saw in Catherine a comparable amalgamation of personal humility, operational diligence, and a readiness to balance familial obligations with official responsibilities. This impression, as conveyed by family associates, influenced the Duchess's articulated desire for the princess to undertake tasks linked to the Kent home after her death. Friends and associates recounted discussions in which the Duchess underscored the significance of trust continuity and the deliberate nurturing of relationships that underpin effective patronage. Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, who at 89 served as the main mourner at the Requiem, represents an additional facet of the family's public duty. Born in 1935 as the grandson of King George V and a first cousin of the late Queen Elizabeth II, the Duke's life has been influenced by military duty, institutional representation, and understated caution. His 21-year tenure in the British Army included many postings and active duty, including time in Cyprus and other locations. He retired with the rank of lieutenant colonel in 1976. Subsequently, the Duke committed himself to a consistent agenda of royal and institutional responsibilities, representing the crown at independent ceremonies across the Commonwealth and undertaking prolonged leadership positions in organizations such as the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, where his oversight extended for over 50 years. These responsibilities emphasized a continual dedication to commemoration and to the well-being of soldiers and their families. For decades, the Duke's consistent involvement in commemorations, monument dedications, and leadership within veteran organizations underscored a family commitment to the practices of public remembering. The Duke and Duchess's union, spanning 64 years of matrimony, provided a foundation of stability for both their personal lives and public endeavors. They together reared 3 offspring: George, Earl of St. Andrews, Lady Helen Taylor, and Lord Nicholas Windsor, while managing the intricacies of royal existence, including the ramifications of religious decisions and matrimonial affiliations within the family. The matter of their offspring marrying Catholics, for instance, interacted with long-standing regulations about succession and highlighted the precarious equilibrium that royal families have always navigated between personal preference and constitutional protocol. During their marriage, the pair developed a service approach that included consistency and flexibility, upholding enduring commitments while pragmatically addressing changing personal situations, health constraints, and altering societal norms. The Duke's attendance at his wife's funeral, fragile but erect, supported by a cane, symbolized unwavering respect and a lifetime of shared commitment. Observers saw him as a figure dedicated to fulfilling his wife's last wishes. Subsequent to the Requiem, the intimate assembly that transpired in the palace's drawing rooms and neighboring mansions enabled family members to share recollections and deliberate on the logistics of the Duchess's legacies and inclinations. In that private setting, the official announcement was made that the Princess of Wales will take up the stewardship of certain patronages and representative obligations of the Kent family. The transfer of responsibility after the public service was carried out not as a formal transfer of peerage, but as a practical reassignment of charity patronages, representative obligations, and home management. Subsequent to the burial at a private family assembly, King Charles addressed the attendees and said that, in accordance with the Duchess's articulated desires, and with the Duke's consent, the Princess of Wales would be bestowed with the responsibility to manage significant aspects of the Kent legacy. This included the management of a portfolio of patronages associated with the arts, military veterans initiatives, and many worldwide philanthropic endeavors that the Duke and Duchess had supported for decades. It included an advising role inside the Kent family and a representative obligation to attend or be represented at occasions that the ailing Duke could no longer routinely attend. The contrast between receiving a title and undertaking a set of obligations is significant. A peerage is a legal and hereditary position with particular constitutional ramifications. What was communicated on this occasion were not the legal attributes of a title, but the active quotidian responsibilities and associations that had come to characterize the public persona of the Kent family. This kind of transfer, informal constitutionally, but formal in family and representational contexts, is a prevalent strategy within royal circles, facilitating the continuance of patronage and the maintenance of institutional links without necessitating a legal reallocation of rank. The king entrusted these obligations to the Princess of Wales to guarantee that enduring charity and cultural affiliations maintained attention and public awareness commensurate with their historical significance. The methods of transferring such stewardship are pragmatic and relational, not legal. A royal patron generally collaborates with boards, trustees, and chief executives to tour projects, welcome recipients, launch appeals, and provide a voice that enhances fundraising and policy impact. When a patron's vitality diminishes or they pass away, the connection may become precarious. Donors could redirect their focus, and institutional momentum may decline. By notifying organizations of the planned transfer and executing a deliberate handover, introducing trustees, participating in joint appearances, and exchanging correspondence, the palace and the concerned families aim to facilitate a seamless transition. The Princess of Wales's acceptance required a commitment to a series of handovers, initial visits, public representation, and the development of personal connections with those who manage and depend on the organizations. The princess embraced the position at a moment that was both formal and profoundly meaningful. The Duke of Kent presented the princess with a family heirloom, a sapphire and diamond brooch that belonged to the Duchess. The transfer of this personal item represented continuity. It served as a private symbol of trust and respect, and the princess's acceptance, marked by a curtsy to the king, signaled her willingness to assume the obligations included in the gesture. The brooch, with a calm blue stone surrounded by tiny brilliant cut diamonds, functioned as a tangible symbol of both devotion and custodial duty. Her acceptance was not an act of appropriation, but of stewardship. She pledged to further the work and relational responsibilities linked to the Kent name in alignment with the couple's principles. Individuals affiliated with the crown characterized the decision as the result of meticulous and confidential familial strategizing. King Charles's decision to formalize the arrangement was perceived as consistent with his overarching goal of creating a more streamlined cooperative monarchy, one in which responsibilities are allocated among a reduced number of engaged senior members, facilitating managerial clarity and promoting an efficient contemporary approach to public service. The consolidation of specific responsibilities with individuals such as the Princess of Wales corresponds with a long-term strategy to centralize visible representation within a more limited group of working royals, thus optimizing institutional operations while maintaining public involvement in the social and cultural domains traditionally endorsed by the monarchy. For the palace's communications department, such clarity minimizes redundancy, mitigates patronage gaps, and facilitates the management of the public-facing schedule to ensure enduring effect. The reassignment has both practical and symbolic importance. The Princess of Wales has a comprehensive portfolio, including mental health advocacy, early childhood development projects, and support for military personnel welfare. These principles thematically coincide with other issues advocated by the Kent Household Support for Children, emphasis on mental health and a proactive care for military members and veterans. The continuity of people ensures practical synergies, shared networks, and overlapping charity objectives, along with a consistent strategy focused on substantial effect rather than mere ceremonial prominence. Joint projects may be established that integrate the princess's early years advocacy with the Kent household's music education efforts, formulating programs that use music to enhance child development and mental well-being. The agreement enables the Duke to focus on his own legacy, certain that the networks and programs he and his late wife cultivated will continue under competent management. The ceremony also highlighted evolving visual and interpersonal tensions among the royal family. Queen Camilla's medically justified absence left a vacancy in the family's public representation. The Princess of Wales's readiness to fill that role, leading prayers, taking a prominent position in the procession, and providing pastoral care to relatives, indicated to onlookers her rising significance within the institutional hierarchy. Media analysts and pundits saw this moment especially as shown by photographs of the princess guiding the family through ceremonial gestures as representative of a wider generational transition and the princess's increasing involvement in public affairs. Images of the procession, the family tableau, and the subdued interactions among senior members served as a visual shorthand for the tales of succession and adaptation that capture public interest in constitutional monarchy. The attendance of other senior royals, such as Prince Andrew, Duke of York, and Sarah, Duchess of York, among the mourners, demonstrated the family's intention to exhibit solidarity at times of shared grief. The King's center positioning with the Waleses conveyed an impression of a solid and unified core leadership. In a constitutional monarchy where symbolism and ritual shape popular ideas of legitimacy and continuity, such displays are significant. The decisions taken on that day service location, liturgical format, and subsequent duty assignments were not just personal, but also expressive, articulating an institutional narrative of resilience, adaptability, and intergenerational stewardship. The Princess of Wales's ascension to the Kent-related duties aligns with her public trajectory. After overcoming substantial personal health issues in 2024 and addressing the accompanying public scrutiny with candor and tenacity, she emerged by 2025 as a symbol of fortitude and reliable public service. The Duchess's current patronages and advocacy efforts have already shown her ability for ongoing involvement. The new Kent stewardship expands this role into the realms of the arts and veteran issues areas in which the Duchess and Duke have established connections. Observers have remarked on the congruence of ideals between Catherine and the Duchess, highlighting a focus on dignity, prudence, and the essence of philanthropic endeavors above ostentation, which positioned the princess as a fitting successor to uphold the Kent heritage. The funeral and the ensuing transfer of duties signify a juncture when grief and institutional governance converge. The event commemorated a life defined by personal conviction and public dedication. The private act of duty transfer demonstrated a pragmatic focus on continuity and the maintenance of relationship capital, important to the Windsor family's charity and cultural endeavors. By assuming the position, the Princess of Wales not only addressed a representative gap, but also undertook a responsibility necessitating ongoing engagement with organizations, institutions, and networks that depend on interpersonal ties and the evident dedication of a royal patron. This event also prompts contemplation on the overarching progression of the British monarchy. In recent decades, successive rulers have endeavored to reconcile tradition with the requirements of an evolving public realm. King Charles's evident inclination towards a reduced cadre of working royals assigned specific tasks reflects a broader institutional shift. A diminished number of royals involved in clearly defined public duties, each anticipated to produce measurable outcomes while embodying continuity of service. The assignment of Kent-related activities to Catherine aligns with this trend as it centralizes functions in an individual whose characteristics and goals align with the requirements of the organizations she will now oversee. The strategy seeks to align public demands for accessibility and relevance with the operational necessities of a monarchy functioning effectively in a 21st century media landscape. For the Duke of Kent, the arrangement represented both solace and confidence. Recognizing the physical constraints of aging and the need of maintaining the network of patronages established by him and his wife, he embraced the princess's acceptance as a strategy to safeguard his family's humanitarian legacy. The move enabled him to withdraw without seeing the institutions he had championed for decades decline in prominence or impact. For the relevant organizations, charities, music institutions, and veteran issues groups, the engagement of a prominent and dedicated patron ensured sustained access to royal endorsement and the accompanying prominence that such patronage provides. Trustees and chief executives conveyed a blend of appreciation and pragmatic optimism. The princess's engagement would bolster financial sources, promote volunteers, and preserve public interest in issues that could otherwise diminish from visibility. The burial of Catherine, Duchess of Kent, thereby concluded one chapter while commencing another. It concluded with the life of an individual who redefined the archetype of a contemporary royal one, who integrated musical fervor, active philanthropy, transparency regarding health, and profound experiential faith, and it heralded a future in which aspects of that ethos will be perpetuated by a member of the subsequent generation. The symbolic brooch, the Duke's verbal support, and the King's official declaration were not simple ceremonial embellishments. They were a deliberate exercise in institutional succession planning conducted within the frameworks of familial and religious traditions. Upon assuming the role, the Princess of Wales pledged her dedication to a series of initiatives aligned with her priorities: mental health awareness, advocacy for early childhood development, and support for military families and veterans. The specific details of her involvement with the Kent-related patronages will be determined via practical engagement, such as visits, public advocacy, governance responsibilities, and the development of partnerships with recipient organizations. Yet the fundamental continuity of aim is evident. Initial actions will probably encompass a series of introductions and collaborative events with current trustees, a framework for a public calendar that aligns Kent-related activities with the princess's existing commitments, and discrete consultations with beneficiaries to ascertain the operational requirements of each institution. The Duchess's insistence on entrusting these tasks to someone she trusted exemplifies her values. She prioritized the preservation of care, practical attention, and personal participation above the continuation of position. The occurrences at Westminster Cathedral on that overcast September day will be remembered for their gravity and understated organizational prudence. They integrated the language of ritual and commemoration with practical institutional management. They celebrated the Duchess's life and contributions while ensuring that her legacy would persist under new supervision. The private choices made after the public service exemplified a monarchy that persists in its adaptation, preserving valuable traditions, but reallocating responsibilities to satisfy modern demands for efficiency and significance. The transfer of Kent-related responsibilities to the Princess of Wales illustrates a generational continuity of service, a purposeful and respectful delegation that commemorates Catherine, Duchess of Kent, while entrusting her duties to an individual who, by both inclination and experience, seems equipped to advance them. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.